Hi.
Hey, there he is.
So the issue is I'm on my phone.
Well, that's great.
I have no idea what's going on with my computer. I'm looking at myself on my computer right now from my phone, but my mic and my camera on my computer aren't working. And I'm also in like an auxiliary locker room bathroom. So...
What is up, everybody, from our AT&T 5G virtual studios? Welcome on into the call-up. I'm Susanna Collins. That is my best friend, Jillian Sakovitz. This is such a great day for us. We are truly coming full circle on this pod, y'all.
Right.
Because today, we have on our very, very first guest of the call-up in Dax McCarty. Now, a lot has happened since we last had him on over 2 years ago, which is hard to believe. His little baby Callum was just an infant at that point. He is now a 2.5-year-old, so he's dealing with a toddler. He's on a new team. He was with the Chicago Fire when we had him on. He is now the captain of Nashville SC, and we talked to him about his career, the secret to his longevity, why Nashville SC has been so consistent in 2021. And of course, we talk about Dax as a dad, Daddy Dax, and get the scoop on what life looks like right now for him. It's been so much fun to kind of just circle back, if you will, with Dax. We loved having him on as our first guest, and this was really cool.
Advice book.
Yes,
I've come to that he's dabbling in all these different things, and we talked to him about that. Captaining a team that is very much, going to make the playoffs, maybe have home field advantage, but also like being an analyst, being a youth soccer coach. And all I have to say is ish happens. And on top of that, this episode had so many interruptions, but they were hilarious, including Dax's newest role of also working at the academy. So like, just buckle up. It's
oh my gosh.
It's also real. It's very real.
Very real. It's very 2021. We've technical difficulties were definitely an issue today, but listen, you know what? We rolled through it, and we had a great conversation with Dax. We also had a great conversation with Dionte Johnson. This is a former Ohio State football legend. Okay. But he owns a footwear store. He's a designer, and ahead of Jersey Week, he designed some really, really awesome patches working with MLS that people, when they order a jersey on MLSstore.com, they will get this package or this patch included in their delivery, which is so cool. So we have a fun conversation with him as well.
Time now for our AT&T 5G call to the field or call to the locker room. Our very first guest on the call-up, a guy who has made more than 400 MLS appearances, currently the captain of Nashville SC, and one of our all-time favorites, Dax McCarty. Dax, thanks for being our first repeat guest ever on the call-up.
My pleasure. I'm actually flattered and honored, and I'm sorry that the repeat guest has to be in what looks like a prison cell. I apologize. I'm actually in an auxiliary locker room for our academy, running some training sessions later. So I figured, why go home and see the dogs and the wife when I can just do it from here? And we had a little technical difficulties, but we're up and running.
So you're coaching a little bit while also just like casually being like at the top of the standings?
I'm trying. I'm trying to dip my toes in the water of what comes next, funny enough. I still feel good. I still feel like I have like 4 or 5 years left easily. But you guys know how it is. Once you turn 30, everyone's like, oh, he's done. He's on the decline. And I'm trying to take solace in Tom Brady just doing his thing, and guys like Drew Moore, guys like Wando. I mean, we should form a support group or something. Guys that just want to keep going into their 400 game club. So we'll see how far I can take it.
I mean, in the club.
Seriously, though,
all the time.
Exactly. I mean, it's age. My back hurts, my knee hurts. It's just everything starts creaking a little. But look at you. You're still doing your thing. And you touched on it. Back in August, you became a member of the 400 MLS Game Club, which is pretty remarkable. Some incredible guys in that group, as you mentioned. Nick Rimando, Kyle Beckerman, Jeff Lorenowitz, Kevin Hartman, Chad Marshall. So Dax, when you know that you're included amongst this group of guys and you've reached this milestone, what would you say is the one thing that has contributed to your longevity in this league?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I would say a lot of good coaches making me look better than I am. That's and a lot of good teammates. I think when I look back on my career, whenever it does end, the one thing that I'll always, I think, appreciate more so than the wins or, the locker room and the, maybe trophies won or not won. It is, like you said, Susanna, it is that longevity and that ability to just try to stay healthy and stay on the field. That's something that I think a lot of players don't realize when they start playing pro, right? They think, okay, I have to get better technically. I have to get better tactically, which is all true. But the best ability is availability, and it's being able to actually be on the field and play. And, there are numerous instances of plenty of incredibly talented players who have had careers cut short because of unfortunate injuries and not being able to realize their full potential. And, for me to be able to play for a bunch of different coaches with a bunch of different teammates and to more often than not be available for the team when I'm called upon, that's something that I take a lot of pride in. And that's something that I'll always look back on very fondly of.
You mentioned your coaches, and if you kind of had to point to one, we'll take Nashville out of the equation, but if you look at your past coaches, who would be someone that you say you really took something from, and maybe that's why you've captained 3 MLS teams? Who's one?
Oh man, I've had so many good coaches and so many great influences in my career. I think when I was younger, I really didn't appreciate my head coaches as much, honestly. And it was because, I think I was young and I was arrogant and I wanted to play every game, and my coaches weren't playing me every game. And so I actually really bonded with Oscar Pareja earlier in my career. He was an assistant coach at FC Dallas when I was young and hard-headed, and he instilled, some tough love in me and some harsh lessons in me that I still take with me to this day. And so I always have a special place in my heart for Oscar and the things he did for me when I was young. But I think a guy maybe that isn't talked about as much, a coach that I really enjoyed playing for, was Hans Backe in New York, my first coach at Red Bull. He's the one that kind of sat me down and said, hey, I think that it would be really beneficial for the team and beneficial for you if you started playing as a number 6 exclusively. I was more of a number 8, a box-to-box midfielder when I was younger. And Hans Backe said, I think that you would really thrive in this role. And I have to give full credit to him, because as a player, you never want to be told that maybe your attacking instincts aren't as great as your defensive ones. But I think it really suited me and the team at the time well. And I just kind of took off from there and wanted to try to perfect that position. And as we've seen, I think that prolonged my career, because it's a position that I picked up pretty quickly and one that I really loved playing and still do love playing.
Hans, thank you for this iteration of Dax McCarty. We are eternally grateful. That's awesome. And now you are at Nashville SC, captaining what is a pretty impressive team under Gary Smith. If I could describe Nashville SC this season, even last year, I would say consistent. The word that comes to mind is just consistent. You guys have been in sort of that top 4 pretty much all season long. This is only the second year for this club in Major League Soccer. What has been the key to that consistency, Dax?
Well, I think there's a number of factors. I think the first factor is the balance that we have on our roster. And it seems like a very arbitrary thing to say, but our roster is so balanced from top to bottom that it's really difficult for us to have those crazy highs and lows that maybe you would expect of a second-year team. I think we have a really good mixture of veteran guys. We have good leadership. Take myself out of it. I have my bad days every now and then, but we have guys like Walker Zimmerman and Anibal Godoy and Joe Willis and Dan Lovitz, and guys that have played in MLS for a long time, but have also played at a high level in other leagues. And so when you have that, I think it gives you a platform for success. And then you mix in some really good foreign signings and some really good younger players that we have acquired through the draft. Guys like Alistair Johnston, guys like Jack Mayer, guys that we acquired internationally like Hani Mukhtar and Randall Leal. I just think there's a really nice balance to our roster. And when you have that, you're always going to be consistent. And that's something that we've done, I think, since we started playing last year when we obviously couldn't play in the MLS's back tournament. We wanted to use that as motivation. And since then, I think our coaching staff has done a good job of finding the right tactics and balance for what our roster needs. I mean, you guys know this. We played pretty exclusively in a 4-2-3-1, even going into this year. And then Gary, you know, he had the wherewithal to maybe say that a formation change would even benefit us even more, which we did. You know, we went to 3 center backs, 3 in the back, and you know, we've just kind of parlayed that into a lot more success. But I like the word consistency. I think it's a measure of a team that's good, but still has room for improvement.
Switching gears here a little bit. First question, Dax, have you watched Ted Lasso?
I'm going to get a lot of crap for this, but I have not watched Ted Lasso yet.
Not mad at you.
I did
Neither
start
has
watching.
Bruce Arena.
I no, but it's some people are like, oh, I haven't watched it and I won't watch it, you know, but I'm going to watch Ted Lasso. I mean, I've seen and heard too many good things about it. It's just, you guys know this, when you have a rambunctious toddler running around the house pretty constantly, you know, his bedtime is getting later. Mom and dad, you know, they want to get in bed around 9 p.m., you know, and it's just not, there's just not enough hours in the day for us to be able to knock it out. But I'm going to tell my wife, you guys know her well, she's been on your show, Jen. I'm going to tell her that Ted Lasso needs to be next up on the list.
You won't regret it.
I'll tell you this,
Jen will like it. Jen will like it.
It's so light, and I actually think it's kind of great for the soul, maybe as you're like eyeing a playoff push, or like maybe during that November international break. That. I don't know. I don't want to throw off the mojo, but no, here's my question. You
guys have motivated me. I'm definitely going to watch it here in the next month for sure.
This won't spoil anything about Ted Lasso, but something that takes place is the players all learn a song. They choreograph Bye 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 by Instinct. That might sound very lame, but I swear it's really good. I love it. If Nashville SC could you get your teammates to all do the same move in sync for like 30 plus seconds? And if you could get them to do it, what song would you pick for Nashville SC? And hey, marketing, I know you're listening. This is a really good idea, because I think the first MLS team to do it is going to like go viral or something.
Oh man, if we could get the guys to choreograph a song, I mean, there's just so many options here. We have such a unique mixture of guys in our locker room, and you know, we have a lot of DJs, some very good DJs. I would say that if I could get us to choreograph a dance move, I don't know, man, let's do something fun. Maybe like the Dougie, you know, something like that.
Yeah,
like,
old school. Yes,
challenge. We have a lot of awkward and you know, kind of like random guys on our team that, you know, maybe have a little bit of rhythm and movement. And then you got the older guys like me who I'm adaptable. You know, I could hit the Dougie every now and then if I need to. But that might be something that I'll bring to the attention of the locker room. We'll see if we can get something choreographed.
Dax, one of the things I wanted to ask you about, you've been spending some time in the broadcast booth, doing some analyst work on the team that you are currently playing for, which is, you know, we don't see this very often. So number one, how has that experience been for you? Kind of like, you know, going on the other side of things, being a part of the media, and have you taken any flack for anything that you have said during these broadcasts from your teammates?
You know what, guys, it's been a really interesting experience because like you said, it's difficult, I think, to be very objective when you are talking about your guys that you still share a locker room with and you're still teammates with. And it's difficult to be too critical of maybe coaching decisions or tactics when, you know, you have to hear about it the next day. So, what I tried to do is just find a balance and tried to be fair and critical when I needed to be, but also, you know, make sure that I'm not too critical and I'm not saying anything too stupid, because it was new for me. And it's something that I've dipped my toes in a little bit. I've seen both of you at the MLS studios, I guess, pre-COVID. I've been there on the panel with Kalen and Weeb and Mr. Doyle. So I've really enjoyed it, and it's a part of the game that I really enjoy, and it's stuff that I do in my off time. It's analyzing video and watching games. I mean, I'm a soccer junkie. My wife hates it. You guys know that. I mean, she can't. I can't ever have time to watch Ted Lasso because I'm always watching soccer. So it's a part of the game that I really enjoy, and obviously I talk a lot. It's very difficult for me to cut myself off. I need to learn how to do that better. But I think the next best thing other than playing is either coaching or talking about the game. And so that's why I'm doing my coaching course right now. I'm trying to coach the academy. I'm trying to do a little bit of broadcasting when I have free time and when I get ridiculous red cards that we're not going to talk about. So, when that happens, I try to make the most of every opportunity. And I have to say, Nashville SC has been so accommodating and fantastic to give me that opportunity. And shout out to Tony Husband and Jamie Watson, my co-commentators. One thing I will say is that Tony's great, easy to work with. Jamie's great, easy to work with. But I feel bad for Jamie because I am a better looking redhead than him. And so when I come on the broadcast, it's got to be a little tough for him to deal with that.
On the note of the media, right? I was on Pharmaceutical Podcast. I think this was a couple months ago. A bunch of Nashville SC supporters.
Yeah,
love those guys. So they had me on, and one of the things that they asked me about was why in the media we don't talk about Nashville SC enough. It's almost like they feel like they're not getting their due. And and as we talked about, they have been consistent, totally in the top 4 teams of their conference for the entire season. So do you think that Nashville SC gets enough credit from people like us, from the guys at Extra Time, from the national media? Like, are we talking enough about this team?
The thing is, guys, and I'm going to age myself quite a bit here, is I don't see enough of the national media news coverage to really honestly care. The truth is that as you get older, I think when you're younger, you care about that stuff and you want people to be talking about you and you want to be reading great things about yourself and you want to be reading the player ratings and how great you were and all that stuff. And especially in this day and age with Twitter and the instant analysis that fans and media alike can dole out, I mean, it's natural. But with me, I've tried to stay away from that type of analysis because who knows if it's real, who knows if it's not. I think the only opinions that really matter are the opinions in the locker room and the opinions of the coaching staff and the technical staff and the guys in your locker room. Now, in terms of can we be getting more love from the outside media? I mean, I'm sure you can always get more, right? And like I said, I haven't paid that much attention to it. Even if we were, I couldn't tell you. If you were going to sit there and tell me you guys have been all over MLSsoccer.com and ESPN and all these different media outlets are covering you guys because you're having a great season, and I would tell you, great. I still think we can get better, and I still think we can improve, and I still think there's more for us to work on, because the truth of the matter is the only things I see are a team that's very consistent, a team that's had a good year, but a team that maybe has drawn too many games, a team that's dropped too many points at home, a team that has struggled to be consistent on the road. So I look at those things, and it's a boring answer. You probably want a juicy headline for me or something, but I really don't pay that much attention to it. And I think that's why you go on, Pharmaceutical Soccer Podcast, so they can complain about it, and then maybe we can get some more. And that's why you guys are giving me love right now. Boom.
Exactly. Spoken like a true captain.
Dax, like we spoke about, when you were on, you were doing I think while doing the interview, you were doing skin to skin with, at the time, maybe 6-week-old Callum McCarty, which adorable. Now you have a 2.5-year-old. So we want to know, at the time you told us your best parenting advice was one that was given to you, and it was keep the baby alive. Now as you dive into what some call the terrible twos, what is Dax's daddy update?
Am I allowed to curse on this podcast? Because I don't want to.
Yes.
But I will replace the word that is probably not appropriate with a different word, which is ish happens. It just happens. Like with kids, like, I don't know if you guys have seen this. My wife, she posts all the good, the bad, and the ugly with my little guy. But, he was running around the house the other day and he tripped on a blanket and he fell and he hit his head on a coffee table and he split his head open, and it was really scary. Yeah, it was really scary. And you know, we were talking about, should we get rid of the coffee table? Should we do this? Should we do that? And it's like, kids will find a way to just get into anything that is not good, and they will trip and they will scrape their knee and they will get into mischief, and it happens. Ish happens, and you just deal with it. And as long as they are still breathing, you are good to go. You go to the doctor, you take them to the experts, you make sure that they smile and laugh every now and then, and you make sure they have clean diapers until they get potty trained, which we are going through right now, which is not an easy process, but it's just so rewarding. I can't tell you how much being a dad has been such a great experience.
Oh, we love that. And I mean, Cal is just, he is absolutely the cutest. Although he looks like a teenager now. Like I was like, what is going on?
He's such a little hipster. I mean, he's got his like tight pants on with like exposed ankles and like hip jackets, and you know, I don't even know him sometimes. Sometimes I'll go to his room and listen to emo music. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You're not even 3 yet. Like, why are you
God. Oh yeah. Well, okay. So we had both you and your wife Jen on the podcast separately. And I think with both of you, we played this new parents game, correct? Okay. Jill, remember this? It was like, who does this? Is it Jen or Dax? Did we do that? Yes. Yep. I'm pretty sure. This is part of our baby shower for you. We threw you a baby shower. This was our inaugural call-up episode, and we threw Dax McCarty a baby shower. I mean, this is just how
it was a great
we roll.
idea. It was lovely. No one else threw me a baby shower.
Listen, this is what we're here for. So we're going to kind of do a little check-in, like on some of the things we asked, and just see, like, you know, how it all ended up turning out. So
let's see how it evolved.
Exactly. One of the things we asked you was who would be the one waking up in the middle of the night when Cal was crying. And you both said that it was going to be Jen Moore. Did this ended up being? Yep.
This has done a complete 180. So the little guy, he's in a phase right now where he is just all about dad.
Okay.
And when he's first of all, the kid is a champion sleeper. So it doesn't happen often, but when he's sick or when he's not feeling good and he has a whimper in the middle of the night, usually he's calling for dad. And that means dad gets up and he goes and he takes care of business. That has been the last month or two. But recently, the last 2 days, he's been a little more partial to mom. So I'm still claiming victory on that one, but it could change here. Kids are weird, and it's like a weekly challenge. You just don't really know who's going to be the favorite.
They're fickle.
They
fickle
are.
things, those children.
You told us that you both changed the blowout diapers.
Yep.
Is that how it went? And who's spearheading potty training now?
Oh man, that's a great question. Yeah, we would both take the blowouts. That's something that you have to take turns on, because if one person takes too many, then it's very dejecting and it's very heartbreaking for that person. So yes, we both took them. In terms of potty training right now, he's in daycare, and daycare is amazing. They're taking a lot of the reins on potty training, but I have to say it's pretty even between us at home. Whoever is at home with him in the afternoons, sometimes Jen is busy in the afternoons and sometimes I am. Whoever's home with him will take the reins, and we both have been slacking a little bit. So he's gotten the hang of it for the most part, but I'd say there's still a long way to go with the potty training. So that's an endeavor that we have to tackle hopefully soon.
Oh man, God bless that daycare. God,
it's amazing.
You're dodging a bullet. One of the things we asked you both, and you both said this would be Jen, would be who is the first person to cuss in front of Cal?
Oh,
and
yeah.
You both said it was Jen. Now, my follow-up here is, has he repeated any of these?
Yes, he has. And it's very heartbreaking when it happens. I actually think he might have repeated his aunt, Jen's sister, Janie, who made a slip up and said the SHIT word.
Ooh.
And that came right back out of his mouth. So luckily it hasn't been repeated. But he definitely said it a few days ago, and we all kind of looked at each other like, oh, that's not good. So you have to try to censor yourself as much as possible around the little ones.
It's hard.
It is hard,
like
but
you said, Dax, it happens.
It may as well have been Jen because it is her twin sister, so I'm blaming her as well.
Totally. Speaking of Jen, how is she?
She's amazing. She's doing really well. We love it here in Nashville. I don't know. I feel like I've talked about Nashville ad nauseum, how amazing of a city it is and how much we've enjoyed living here. So she's doing great. She has a lot of projects around the house and a lot of gardening things she's doing. She's working on her ag tech startup, and she got her real estate license, and she's just Superwoman. I mean, there's really nothing else to say about her. She does it all.
We are both huge fans of your wife, and obviously.
I would be remiss if I didn't tell you guys this. You need to know this. She forced me. I listen to your guys' podcast a lot, but I hadn't listened to the I don't know if it was the Brian Dunseth episode, maybe when Dunny did the Bruce Arena impression, and she could.
Do you have one?
She didn't stop. No, I can never, ever do a good Bruce Arena impression. At least I maybe could if I had a few beers in me, but not right now. But she would not stop laughing at Dunny's Bruce Arena impression. And she was very, very impressed. And she loves Bruce. Bruce was great with her. And so she said that was such a wonderful moment for her listening to that episode. So kudos to you guys. Kudos to Dunny. You guys are killing it.
Thank
Who would have
you.
thought, you know?
Who would have thunk? It all started.
A few years ago, starting with me, that you guys would take off.
We owe so much to you, Dax McCarty. so much. No, we adore you. We adore your wife, your whole family. And if baby number 2 decides to come along, we are happy to throw you another baby shower. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Okay,
I think
great.
we have to have Callum on.
We will see.
At this point.
We will see. Speak it into existence, guys.
I am. I'm just going to manifest it out there. Dax, thank you so much. Best of luck. Hey, you know what? I'm very excited to see Nashville SC in the playoffs again and hosting some playoffs games. How about that? Talk about manifesting, right?
I like that a lot.
What do you think?
When I score, we do a full 28-player team Dougie. Right?
Yes.
How about that?
Boom. Here for this. All right, kids, it is the Halloween season right now, and scary movies are a thing. They are on all the time. It's hard to avoid at this point in the season right now. And so this is my thing. I love scary movies. But Jill, this is a weird quirk of mine. I will only watch like scary slasher, thriller, horror movies on an airplane. And my reasoning is that like I'm on an airplane, like there's no like creepy monster or a psychopath like serial killer on an airplane. So like I'm in a safe space right now to watch this. So this is when I watch scary movies. I won't watch them when I'm at home. And my family thinks I am legit cray. Like they're like, you what? Like, why would you do that on an airplane? Like, you are nuts. And so I'm kind of checking in. Like, are we here for me, like watching scary movies on a plane? Does that make sense? Or am I, as my family said, just completely out of my mind?
Well, a little psychopath, but also I think it's adorable that you feel safe in a giant piece of metal 40,000 feet up in the air. Like, that's your safe space.
What does that say about me?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know.
I'm going to blame it on your traveling career that you've had.
Maybe.
That you just feel so safe in the air now that you want to watch.
No. But then like I was so flippant about it. And they were like, wait, what? They literally looked at me like I was absolutely insane.
Well, you could lock yourself in that room that Dax was in and you would be pretty sure there's nothing in there. You know, I have a tendency to watch really depressing things on an airplane, and a lot of people do. Mm-hmm. My most jarring one that I ever decided, and tell me if this is psychopathic, is February, end of 2020. You may know where this is going. I watched Chernobyl the whole season on an airplane flying home from France. And I'm like, oh my God, this thing that happened that the world had never seen, and then everyone died and no one knew anything about it. That's so weird. And then like a few weeks later was COVID. And I'm like, this is because you watched Chernobyl.
This is because you watched Chernobyl. This is it.
That's kind of dark. Let's make it let's make it a little lighter in here.
Yes.
For those of you, and I'm saying spoiler alert, but this in no way, shape, or form will ruin anything about Ted Lasso. I promise you.
Mm-mm.
But spoiler alert. In one of the final episodes, they do a choreographed dance. All the players do a choreographed dance to NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye. And I have to say, Jamie Tart totally stole the show. But it got me thinking. We've seen like WNBA teams have done like good things on TikTok of them all like in synchrony perfectly. And I'm like, oh my God, why doesn't an MLS team just take a beat, take a minute, take a half hour practice? I'm just saying. And they need to choreograph a show, choreograph a dance. And like they would go viral. And then like that team would just like explode into the sports stratosphere. So it got me thinking, if you could pick one MLS team to do a dance, who would it be? And also, P.S., whoever you're listening, I know we got some marketing people that listen, do the damn thing because you'll be like all over the place.
I know.
Maybe you'll be on
is.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Listen, this is an opportunity there for the taking. Let's capitalize. Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, my immediate thought with this is like a Schmetzer, like in the Seattle Sounders.
Not laughing at that.
Because it would be so unexpected, right? Like, would
it be to NSYNC? Yeah, let's say it's like to NSYNC Bye Bye Bye. I feel like that's just a really good visual for anybody.
Well, yeah, because we talked to Dax about being like bringing the Dougie back. Like, I mean, like we could go old school, but Bye 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 is like everyone knows it. Like I feel like it crosses generations. But that would be amazing. Or like a Peter Vermees and SKC.
Well, he's worn cutoff shirts before.
Yes, he has. He's putting on the gun show. I bet he'd be like.
I think he'd be good.
Yes, exactly. He would like nail the choreo and like be like very like making sure everybody was in time and in count all together. Yes. Here for it.
So I've been putting a lot of thought into this, as you can see. And I landed on Inter Miami because I kind of need to see Phil Neville and like Higuain and like Blaise Matuidi like all do a dance together. Victoria, they can call Victoria if they have questions.
How do
Inter Miami
happen?
You have to make your fans happy somehow,
guys. It is there. We're, like Dax said, let's put it out there. Let's manifest this into reality. OMG. What's on tap? Well, let me tell you, Jersey Week starts tomorrow, October 20th, and runs through October 27th. So make sure you head on over to MLS Store so you don't miss any of the deals on all of your favorite jerseys. So to help us get excited for Jersey Week, we are so excited to welcome in our second AT&T 5G call to the field, former Ohio State University football star, designer, founder of the sneaker boutique Souls Classic, Dionte Johnson. Dionte, thank you so much for coming on. We're so excited to have you.
Oh my gosh, I love the energy. Yes. No, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm ready to share with everyone.
This is great. You have designed some incredible patches. These patches are so dope. All right. So people who order these jerseys on MLS Store will then get these patches with their jerseys. So how did this collaboration with MLS come about? Tell us about it.
Man, I really wish I had this fancy backstory. So I put together a website for myself to serve sort of like a portfolio a few years ago. It's just DionteJohnson.com. So I rarely get messages from that website because usually someone reaches out to me through Soul Classics or through Canvas. So I got a message on there and it's from David and I'm like, all right, well, hello. So I'm thinking it's spam at first, saying that it's some type of project that, for the MLS. So he's like, no, we checked out your portfolio, big fan of your work. We would love to do a project with you. So I'm like, whoa, with the MLS, like, of course. Just this year, I became a Columbus Crew season ticket holder. Like it was all in the right timing. So I agreed to do the patches, and it was kind of like, well, yeah, if you do it, we need them done by tomorrow. But let's get it going. So that's kind of how this whole project came about.
Go MLS, just sliding into Dionte's DMs, basically. Love that. Well, let's go back a little, Dionte, and talk about You received a full scholarship to the Ohio State University. You captained them from 07 to 08, led them to a national championship in 2008, graduated with a marketing degree from the Fisher College of Business, and had a brief stint with the NFL. So all this football, what led you to this?
Well, I mean, I am a sports guy, first and foremost. So it doesn't matter if it's football, basketball, ping pong, soccer, tennis, what you want to call it, football, American football, European football, whatever. I've always been a big fan. So, I love the nature of competition. So, to take that into the design world, to take it into sneakers, it's always been a big part of who I am. So I actually played soccer in Little League. So until my shoulders broadened a little bit and decided that football was the route for me, I played right here in Columbus, Ohio. So big, attraction to competitiveness is what I should say. So, soccer is not exempt from that.
Love it. So Jill said it. You are a season ticket holder with the Columbus Crew. Tell us, have you been to lower.com field? Have you been to the new stadium? Tell. We have not yet. So what was your take and what was your experience like going to some of these Crew matches?
It was crazy because.
And why'd you become a ticket holder?
So it was crazy. Well, one, because of lower.com field. Like I thought that it would, seeing the whole thing develop. My shop is almost catty corner from the Crew activation on High Street. So I've been seeing, the plans for it and getting excited about it for a while. To see the city rally behind the Crew when we almost left and went out of town, it does something to you if you're from here, you're around it all the time. So, I'm like, well, no, we need to be a part of it. And for me, I remember going in middle school and watching Brian McBride, we go that far back to watching soccer. So to finally become a season ticket holder means a lot to me, means a lot to my partner and my family. So it was dope. It was like it's finally time to do it.
You always find guys recreating themselves right after sports. You mentioned it. You were a competitor, such a big part of their game. How did you make the move from sports and being a competitor into being a designer?
So, funny story. I actually taught I've always been the guy that was sketching in his class books and stuff like that. So, I've always been a fan of design. Never really, and I always imagine myself owning eventually playing 15 years in the pros and then coming back and owning my own sneaker boutique. So what happened was when I got hurt in Arizona, one of my friends to help me pass the time of rehab, he sent me a bootleg version of Photoshop. I probably shouldn't say that out loud, but so when I had that, it kind of helped me pass the time. It just was it became a hobby. So I'm YouTubing classes, taught myself how to design. Then next thing I know, I was designing a couple of things. So when I finally subscribed to Photoshop and decided to take it a little bit more seriously, people began to tell me they liked the work and like my eye for creativity. And here I am today, partner of a branding and marketing firm and get a chance to live that out every single day. But yeah, it all kind of started from the injury. I don't question God's path. So here we are.
See, I love that. You make the most of a setback and here you are now doing something that you love and you're so good at it because these patches are so cool. So I'm looking at them right now. You've got this one, it's the two arms, the Canada, United States. I think my favorite one, is the little RV, the little van with the soccer ball wheels. So cool. What was the inspiration behind some of these ideas, Dionte?
So we wanted to make sure that the goal was to create patches that one took you to a specific moment in time, but that felt less traditional than what you would get out of what we would come to expect from sports patches and memorabilia. I wanted them to be I sell limited edition sneakers for a living. I wanted the patch to feel like something that you had to be there during Jersey Week and get. If you don't get it, then you won't get it again. That type of feeling. So I really wanted to make sure that we created some unique designs that really stood out.
They're awesome.
And you certainly did. They're awesome. I kind of want all of them. So Dionte, thank you so much. We love having someone who's an artist in the MLS sphere, but also an MLS fan. So you are the perfect combo for us. And we look forward to the fans that are listening today seeing all of these patches next week.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. But yeah, I'm excited about it. So I've been more than excited to get them out. So it's finally that time. So let's go.
Let's go. And just a reminder, everyone, Jersey Week begins October 20th, goes through the 27th. So make sure you head on over to MLS Store and snag all your favorite jerseys. Get some of Dionte's awesome patches. Thanks so much for listening, for watching. Dionte, thanks for joining us. We'll see everybody. What's up, everybody? It is Susanna Collins and Jillian Sakovitz, co-hosts of The Call-Up. And if you want more Call-Up action, hit like and subscribe right here on YouTube, right there.
And also make sure that you download every episode of The Call Up every single Tuesday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time or anywhere that you get your podcasts. And while you're here, why not check out some of these other videos as well?